everybody, Miss Janine here. Time for a puppet post. Today's story is based on the book The Three Little Fish and the Big Bad Shark by Ken Geist. The story starts out like this. Once there were three little fish. There was Tim and Jim and Kim. And one day their mother came and said, "Children, it's time for you to go and build a house of your own. Now go to the bottom of the sea and build a nice house. But be careful, for the ocean is a dangerous place." So the three little fish said, "Okay, Mom," and they swam off to the bottom of the sea. Now the first little fish swimming around spotted some seaweed. He built himself a wonderful house out of seaweed. He just got inside the house when who should appear but the big, bad shark. Doo-dum, doo-dum, doo-dum. Little fish, let me come in." But Tim said, "Not by the scales of my finny fin. Then I'll crunch and I'll munch and I'll smash your house in." And then the shark opened his mouth wide and came swimming, and crunch! He started to eat Tim's house. Lucky for Tim, he stopped to chew the house, and Tim was able to swim away, and he swam as fast as he could until he got to where his brother Jim was. And Tim said to Jim, "Oh, Jim, there's a shark, a big ugly shark. He's right behind me. We've got to go hide." So Jim said, "Don't worry, I have a house in the bottom of the ocean. Follow me." So Jim led Tim, and they went down to the bottom of the ocean where Jim's house was. Jim's house was made out of sand. They swam up and they just got inside when who should appear? You know who. It was the big bad shark. Doo-dum, doo-dum. Little fish, let me come in." "Not by the scales of our finny fins. Then we'll crunch and we'll munch and I'll smash your house in." And the big bad shark opened his mouth wide, came and took a big bite out of Jim's house. Crunch! But lucky for them, he didn't like the sand in his mouth, and he started to spit out the sand. And so Jim and Tim got away, and they swam as quick as they could until they got to Kim's house. And they said, Kim, there's this big ugly shark. He's right behind us. You've got to save us." She said, "Don't worry, we can go down to my house. It's in the bottom of the ocean." So Kim led Jim and Tim, and whoop, they went down to the bottom of the ocean where Kim's house was. Now Kim's house was an old shipwreck, and there was just enough room for them to get through the door, and they just got inside Kim's house when who do you suppose appeared? Yep, it was the big bad shark. Doo-dum, doo-dum. And of course he said, little fish, let me come in." And they said, "Not by the scales of our finny fin. And then he said, "Then I'm going to crunch and munch and I'll smash your house in." But Kim said, "Nuh-uh, you better go away. You're going to knock your teeth out." And the shark said, "I'm coming." And so he opened his mouth wide, and he swam as fast as he could, and he hit the side of Kim's house, and there was a really loud crunch. Crunch! But when he backed up, the hole in the house was no bigger, but on the ground there were shark teeth. And Kim said, "See, I warned you." But the shark said, "I'm not going away. I'm coming in." So this time he got back even further and came swimming even faster. Doom, doom. And he hit the house with a really loud crunch. Everybody say crunch with me. 1, 2, 3, crunch! But this time, when he looked on the sand, it was full of shark's teeth. And he said, My teeth! What happened to my teeth? I knocked out all my teeth." And so the shark swam off. As for Kim and Jim and Tim, they came out and celebrated. Hooray! Hooray! And they swam around the ocean and had the best time. Now, if you're like me, you might have wondered, what happened to that poor shark? Because after all, he was just doing what sharks do. And then I remembered something. Whenever you read a picture book, it's important to always look at the pictures. And in the back of the book, there's one last picture that answers the question of what did the shark eat? Well, from that day on, the shark became a vegetarian. And that, my friends, is the story of the 3 little fish and the big bad shark. A lot like another story you may know. Well, thanks for listening. Come back next week and there'll be another story. Bye.